There have been many various attempts to beat this game, with a slingshot, with a shovel launcher, but today I'm going to try it with a repair tool. Could you maybe catch fire a bit faster, somehow? No, but seriously, don't let that fool you. This bad boy is a weapon of mass destruction. So with that said, is it possible to beat Far Cry 5 with only a repair tool? The game starts with us, the law, being given orders to arrest a doomsday cult leader. As we arrive, we make sure they understand that we're the law. Pick it up. Oh, he's gonna shoot me. We capture Joseph's seed, but his fanboys jump onto the helicopter, causing it to crash. As we regain consciousness, Joseph gives the orders to begin the reaping. And now the fanboys are trying to capture us. Life really comes at you full circle sometimes. We head south and rejoin the Marshal. Since we haven't unlocked the repair tool yet, we have to rely on him to clear the section. So basically, we try to distract some while the Marshal shoots. And as you can see, he is shooting, just not hitting them. When he goes down, we pick him up and repeat the sequence. Then, at some point, he had enough and decides to go for a drive. And the first thing he does is fix his rear view mirror. Man, where did they get this guy? We then ride along with the Marshal as waves of cultists try to make our lives difficult. But honestly, they do more damage to themselves by constantly crashing into each other. Then the Marshal swerves off the road, and I bet his excuse would have been something like, "I didn't have time to check the side mirrors." But anyways, we get rescued by a man named Dutch, give ourselves a glorious mullet, and step outside into the tutorial island. But even here, our problem still persists. We can't unlock the repair tool. The upgrades tab is still closed. And even if it was open, we'd still need 5 perk points. And getting them through challenges is virtually impossible because most of them require us to break our one and only rule: use only the repair tool. After freeing 2 dudes, blowing up 2 shrines by standing behind them, and opening a truck, we end up with 325 resistance points out of the 2100 required. Yeah, this is not happening. We need to pivot. And the solution actually comes from the very first guy we rescued. If we don't clear the cultists during this encounter, the game never actually removes this event. No matter how far he runs away, he always gets returned to the same position. It's kind of a Sisyphus situation. So by saving this guy and then reloading the game, we can farm resistance points. However, I was quickly disappointed when I realized that to finish the tutorial island, we have to clear the outpost on the north side. At this point, the guns for hire guy spawned, and I used them to clear the outpost. Since they're extremely overpowered, this is going to be the first and the last time we actively use a gun for hire. And as the fog clears around the island, we're finally able to leave. Our goal now is simple: bring this lawless region back to law. The first region we choose is John's. But we're getting ahead of ourselves because we still don't have a repair tool. So the next step is to travel around and collect perk points. I stole a car and it gave me my first resistance points. Apparently that counted as clearing a roadblock. And it makes perfect sense. Moving the only piece of the roadblock will dismantle it. We then make a quick stop by the pumpkin farm and notice a dog being mistreated. They accidentally shot the cage and released it, and then the dog proceeds to bite their balls off. By simply observing that beautiful chain reaction, we earn more resistance points. We pet the doggy, get another perk point, then immediately get harassed by a bear. The animal kingdom clearly has no respect for us yet, and after that we stumble upon an NPC with some information.
Saw the cold gathering a ton of metal. He sent me to get backup, but he's still there. I hope he doesn't do anything.
He died hoping. And finally finish our perk hunt by hitting a prepper stash. And there it is, the weapon that will bring this region to order. I decided to test it on the guards near a silo, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. I expected much worse. The moment the flame touched them, they were basically rendered useless. They couldn't fight back, they couldn't run, all they could do is scream for help. Ideally, during any fight, the enemies need to be isolated from each other. Otherwise, they can push me to the ground, stopping me, or even worse, killing me. When the first skirmish ended and the bodies hit the floor, the silo exploded and the ground was engulfed in flames, it felt good. I then messed around with the silos. Using the repair tool on them directly didn't seem to work, so the workaround was this. Also, this method worked. I would simply respawn with the silo destroyed and the resistance points already credited. I then traveled across Holland Valley and came across some people being held hostage. Due to the unpredictable nature of fire, not all of them made it. The one who did, though, was my mullet brother. By the way, this is the man who will bring this region to justice. Just look at us in our full mullet glory. Anyway, he told me about an outpost that needed liberating. I decided not to disable the alarms and instead go in head first. And it was going great until an armored guy showed up. These dudes take a long time to cook. And I truly mean a long time. And while I didn't notice this at first, there was a massive shift in power. The slow repair tool was suddenly emanating aura. Remember that bear that used to terrorize us? Yeah, this is him now. He wanted none of this. We then headed to Fall's End, a small town being overrun by cultists. We started liberating it, got a hold of a shirtless guy, and burned his nipples off. Put on a shirt, you're not that guy. Then a plane appeared that had to be dealt with in order to progress. Now, I can't deal with anything that flies. I don't think I need to explain why, but the Falls End residents can. They'll occasionally mount the machine gun and start shooting at the plane, but they're kind of ADHD about it and keep running from one gun to another. At this point, all we have to do is survive and wait until eventually the plane is destroyed. Next up was a cow farm that also needed liberating. For this one, I decided not to attract any unnecessary attention and attempt some stealth. But burning people scream, and screaming brings attention. So stealth is not an option, ever. After the farm was secured, one guy asked me to bring the cows back. And I did. I probably should have thrown a rock to guide them, but in my defense, he didn't specify what state they had to be when I brought them back. So he got them in medium rare. However, John isn't okay with animal cruelty, but he's perfectly fine with human cruelty. They begin transporting us, but the pastor intercepts them. More importantly, he tells us that our mullet brother is among the many prisoners. And one thing the mullet gang doesn't do is abandon its own. Now, most of our belongings were taken away, but the one thing they needed to separate me from, they didn't. And this was the canon event where I became the hidden demon in the smoke. Well, self-proclaimed might be more accurate, because the people who were with me died, and the people who were against me also died. So there was really no one left to spread the word. As we make our way to the mountain, we free our twin, and then spend 2 minutes defending him until a helicopter picks us up. And then we ride off, with our mullets gently playing in the wind. Then the pastor asked us to rescue a few more hostages, and this is where we got introduced to the flamethrower guy. My first interaction with him went something like this. He set me on fire, I tried rushing to the hostage, failed to rescue him because I was on fire and had to put it out before interacting with anything. Meanwhile, the ground caught fire, which spread to a nearby red barrel and exploded. On top of that, I couldn't even take the guy out. He's fire resistant. And at that moment, I thought to myself, have I finally met a man with more aura than me? I mean, look at him, completely unbothered, standing in a sea of flames. Like, that's an Oscar-winning shot. Never mind, I'm still undisputed. Next, we went to retrieve a food trailer for a chef, and it was locked behind a padlock that we could surprisingly destroy with a repair tool. And that's when I started questioning something. Why am I even calling this a repair tool? The game calls it that because it assumes I'll be repairing cars. I'm not repairing anything. I'm taking lives. I'm destroying things. A more accurate name would be a blowtorch, right? I'm blowing dudes. Torching people. Yeah, let's go with torching people. Then we also brought back a semi-truck.
Didn't scratch it too much, did ya?
No? John's second attempt to capture us is successful. He starts talking about the power of yes, and then asks who wants to go first. I was absolutely terrified by the pinned pork chop on his desk, so I stayed silent. Luckily, it worked out and he took the woman instead. Once again, they took everything from us, except the blowtorch. So I covered his entire bunker in the flames of justice. And when I ran into him again, he basically told me to piss off. As I walked out, I stumbled upon an NPC with some information. But a bright flash of red distracted me and the guy got mauled by a bear. Am I bad luck for these people? Soon after, I found another like-minded individual. If he cut his hair and left a mullet, he would literally be my twin. He wanted to free some animals. Well, freedom from the burden of life. Now, I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything to cause this, but suddenly an explosion went off and all the animals broke free into full frenzy mode. They started fighting each other, fighting the cultists, randomly combusting, sending people flying, and in all the chaos, they almost took me and my twin out. Then the pastor asked us to protect a guy who jumped ship. He realized the whole cult thing wasn't for him and wanted out. I mean, nobody who looks like that smells nice. When we arrived at the trailer park, we saw these guys just chilling. Even when I set them on fire, they didn't seem to care. Honestly, I wish I was this unbothered in life. At one point, a cultist tried to kidnap the guy we were protecting. So I immediately set him on fire. Didn't really think about it, and of course, the entire trailer caught fire. Somehow, the guy survived. He's definitely going to feel that tomorrow, but hey, he lived. And we finished the region the same way we started it, by moving the only piece of a roadblock. John tells us to come settle things at the Falls Ends Church. We kind of let our guard down and get captured. John demands we say yes and confess. But once again, I'm terrified by how effortlessly he managed to spawn another pork chop. So I just ignore him, hoping he'll eventually go away. He doesn't, but a gun makes him. Outside the church, the demon hidden in the smoke strikes again. And then we take an Uber to the airstrip, where we see John taking off in a plane. Now remember when I said, now I can't deal with anything that flies? Well, that was true, but this time I'm flying too. Wait for it. Hey, let's go, he's grounded. We bring John C to justice and take his bunker key. When we get to the bunker's entrance, there's this little ugly head sticking out. And I'm thinking, no way you're getting a jump on me. So I reach for my binoculars and he immediately gets the jump on me. We then clear out a lot of cultists to reach Hudson. While she gets freed, many other prisoners are still locked up. So that becomes our next objective. The blowtorch can't destroy consoles, so we stand near them and let a cultist shoot them out for us. Then I get a bit nervous when Hudson tells me to shoot the hinges if the ledges don't open, which in game terms means they definitely won't open. But thankfully the jump from the lower platform works after we destroyed the bliss containers. Some of them the cultists conveniently shot at, and the rest I take care of myself. This is followed by a section where a lot of unfortunate cultists were locked in a room with me. And after making the final jump to the ladder, John's region is brought back to law, using only a blowtorch. The second region we go to is Faiths, and a new region means a new enemy variant. And I'm convinced Ubisoft was actually setting their voice actors on fire, because how else do you explain a performance like this? We then clear an outpost and deliver a fuel truck. They put a few holes in it along the way, so we actually ended up using the repair tool the way it was originally intended. Nice. After that, we have a brief I can fix her moment with Faith, and wake up near a jail that's currently being assaulted by cultists. In the middle of the fight, I recklessly jump over a ledge and start performing a takedown, but luckily a nearby goon pushes me away, saving me from having to restart the whole section. I mean, his friend still died, but we have to acknowledge the effort. Then the trucks appear. We gather all three of them in the same spot and set off a barrel. Once all the dust settles, we get indoctrinated into a cougar gang. So now we're a mulleted cougar. I guess. We continue on and liberate another outpost, where we torch the back of a bald guy's head. Why? I don't know. It was kind of funny. Then, at the request of our cougar gang, we head to a water treatment facility. Everything that needs to be destroyed conveniently has an explosive barrel nearby. And we're also doing a good thing. These bliss hallucinations are very distracting. I mean, you'll just be driving along the road and suddenly some janky fight breaks out that you absolutely have to watch. Next, we're asked to eliminate a guy hiding in his bunker. I torch him, then one of his goons climbs down the ladder and immediately catches fire from the guy on the ground. A third guy climbs down, sees what's happening, and instantly nopes out. Then the sheriff asks us to free a few prisoners. Since this is technically a stealth mission, it was never going to go my way. Every time I freed a prisoner, they immediately got executed. Even though they all passed away, they were at least given a chance. A little later, the special squad arrived. These guys had negative IQ. They refused to notice me despite me standing completely out in the open. After zooming back and forth in their boats, they finally landed on shore. By taking out these 4 individuals, we single-handedly increased Montana's average IQ by at least a few points. Then there was a moment where we rescued the marshal, and later came across a man sitting in a broken down car. And guess what? We fixed it, he said thanks, got in his car, and drove away. I think this is where the video peaks. Nothing else is topping that. After that, we ran into a guy with a cigarette, and if he just stopped wiggling around for a second, maybe I could have helped him light it up. Faith then goes on the offensive and takes out a member of the cougar gang. She also takes the sheriff with her. During the fight, we mostly just tickle her feet. Faith has this very annoying mechanic where she knocks you down if you get too close to her, so the tickling takes twice as long. The goons are one-shottable. So yeah, the whole fight is a big day for feet enjoyers. We then head into her bunker to save the sheriff. That requires torching a few cultists, closing a few valves, blowing up a few pumps, and then running out of the bunker. The sheriff is saved, and the Faith's region is brought back to law using only the blowtorch. And now the final region is Jacob's. After clearing an outpost, we go on a strolling mission, where we are told about an evil man. A very bad guy by the name of Cook. He sets people on fire. I also do that. Now I can't deal with him, but thankfully the archer can. Next, we get abducted and forced to run Jacob's time trial. And bad news, the blowtorch is taken away. There are going to be 4 total of these. The first 3 can be completed by maxing out the timer through repeated failures, then running past the enemies while avoiding being knocked down. But the 4th one, well, we'll talk about that later. We then find a doctor on top of a trailer surrounded by a pack of wolves. We quickly join her because these puppies do not mess around. We help her trap one alive since the others had already been turned into charcoal. Our journey continues as we help an aspiring young man running for office recover his truck. Getting it was easy. Running away with it, however, required dealing with a helicopter. Unfortunately, we can't out-repair the incoming damage, so it's up to our partner to shoot it down. We'll leave him to do that while we handle the ground forces. Eventually, he takes the helicopter down, and the pilot faceplants so hard it hurts him even after death. Jacob's region had the fewest points out of the 3, and towards the end it got really dry. I was completing all sorts of BS missions, fetching baseball cards, vinyl records, bubbleheads. I even attempted a mission I hadn't planned on, Allies hostage rescue. The last step of that mission is to destroy a helicopter, and the only way to do that was to rely on the freed NPCs. This level of RNG was frustrating, but we were out of options. Thankfully, the NPC decided to take a long scenic route to the highest point of the mountain and actually shoot the pilot out. Forget the time we repaired that broken car. This is where the video peaks. We then completed the region by doing a race. Again, there was literally nothing else left to do. We're then sent into the final time trial. To complete it, we're given 40 seconds, which on its own is not enough. Previously, when I was doing the shovel launcher challenge, I completed it using the gun swap trick that speedrunners use. Basically, you do a running punch attack and cancel at the last second. Doing this repeatedly results in much faster movement. I was fully prepared to commit another 2 hours of my life doing this again, but at some point, and I'm not even kidding, he just died. Ignore the messed up swap, I'm pretty sure this wasn't going to be a successful attempt anyway, but yeah, he dies here. I wasn't even close to see what happened. And just like that, I was granted a massive dub, and I'm taking it. Next, we enter another area where the objective is to destroy some generators. Since the game instantly pulled us in after getting the last resistance points for the region, I wasn't able to prepare a full set of damage resistance potions. I had to make do with only 2. There were quite a few keyboard slams along the way, and the funny part, after finishing the generators, we still had the Jacob fight. It was so brutal that I had to go hunt for ingredients to craft another damage resistance potion. Once we finally reached the top of the hill, we touched Jacob with the Flames of Justice. He instantly folds and we take his bunker key and head for its liberation. This one is the simplest of them all. No hinges to shoot out, no containers to blow up, just a regular multi-story bunker filled with enemies on each level. We freed the last missing fellow and run out of the bunker. And with that, Jacob's region is finally brought back to law, using only the blowtorch. So now the last one left is Joseph, the man who slid through our fingertips at the start of the game. He undid our entire playthrough in a matter of seconds by recapturing all the people we had freed. Then a choice presents itself, and let's make one thing clear: the law doesn't compromise. Joseph then casts a spell that disconnects us from the live service. And the final battle begins. If we torch and pick up people, they join us. If Joseph guns them down and picks up, they're on his. What exactly this tug of power is supposed to represent, I don't know. I'll leave that to the experts to decipher. Once all of them are on our side, we shower Joseph in justice, and with that the game is complete, using only the blowtorch. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you have any suggestions, want to discuss something, or just want to say hi, leave a comment. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.